Hi, this is Jacques Taylor, and you're listening to Jacques Talk. This is a podcast where I talk about the Cowboys, the team I've covered as a beat writer, columnist, TV insider, and radio host for 28 years. I'll also talk about the NFL and the things I love, working out, streaming, food, and all things down. Welcome to Jacques Talk, where sports is fluid. What's true today might not be true an hour, a day, or a month from now. I'm going to give you the truth straight, no chaser. Glad to have you aboard. Let's get it. Hey, welcome, folks, to episode 140 of Jacques Talk. I'm your boy, Jacques Taylor, joined by my boy, Big Joe in the Big Rig. What's the sit rep, dog?
We are 47 seconds in. The light is red. Operation Jacques Talk is a go. We are definitely 5x5.
That is music to my ears. We do want to remind you, check out the YouTube station at The Real Jacques Talk, where we've got the latest Jacques Talk one-on-one interview with Patrick Creighton up and rolling. We got a couple episodes of Good and Good for You, which is where we go behind the scenes and do some cooking with some recipes. So make sure you check that out on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and review for us. We appreciate that. Episode 140 means 40. Now, for me, that's got to be nobody but Danny McCray.
Whatever.
Who you got?
Whatever. that is Tennessee's own.
Bill Bates.
That's right.
Bill Bates, the special teams guru, the special teams czar, the father of triplets. Great dude, good guy, Bill Bates. Once run over by Herschel Walker at the University of Tennessee when Herschel was a freshman. Without further... Now, occasionally when we're doing numbers, we miss somebody. Now, I appreciate this guy's efforts. He sent me a text on Twitter. He goes, now, this player was just a guy, but remember Broderick Sargent? I just started laughing, man. I said, okay,
39? You talking about 39?
Yeah, Broderick Sargent. And I was like, you're right. He was just a guy.
Yeah.
I said, we ain't taking no flack for that one, man, but we do appreciate the update.
Well, just the guy counts, though. I'm going to give him credit. Just the guy counts. Somebody wore it.
Somebody wore it.
We're going to mention Vince Albritton. Broderick Sargent counts.
Okay, but my only point was I felt bad for somebody we missed the other day. I felt bad when we missed DeMarco Murray. I was like, and I felt bad when we missed James Washington.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't feel bad that I missed Broderick Sargent.
Yeah.
Now I did remember him, but I didn't feel bad because I missed him.
But you got to dig, that's somebody that And another thing is we don't Google.
No,
once we
just,
miss,
just off the top of your head.
Once we miss, then we go. If we can't figure it out, we go to Google. But it's really off the top of your head. But Broderick Sargent, what did he play?
He was running back.
Okay, I barely remember him, but all right.
I think he played at Baylor, but I can't swear to it.
Yeah, I think he did too.
All right, let's go to Todd Archer. We got a few things to discuss with my man today.
All right.
Archer, brought to you each and every Wednesday by Smokey John's Barbecue, 1820 West Mockingbird. It is food to live for. Go by there, swing through. Wing Wednesday. If you know, you know. Smoked wings. Get you some. Plate full. This is also Customer Appreciation Week, so they got all kind of good things going on at Smokey John's Barbecue this week. My man, Todd Archer, what's happening, man? Have you dried the tears up yet?
For what?
For dropping your beautiful daughter off at college.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
Just checking. Want to make sure you're good. I am curious because this is time of year where we discuss the roster. Because I think what is it? Roster cut down day is next Tuesday when they got to cut to 53. Are there any surprises on this roster? I mean, I guess when we talk surprises, we're like, are they keeping 3 or 4 running backs? Will they gamble and keep 2 quarterbacks? 4 receivers, 5 receivers. Anything we should go ahead.
It's funny, we have our final projection coming out after the last preseason game, and I went through, not my final one, but I'm like, all right. And you always got to remember, the guys that are hurt that you keep on the roster for a day, even though they tweaked that rule a little bit here this year, and then so how do you figure that out? But to not get into those weeds, One thing that I did on my final roster, I only kept four. Well, as of now, I want to talk to some more people, but I've only kept four cornerbacks. And my thinking is of the Andrew Booth, Eric Scott, Kamon Hill, Josh Butler, those guys, some sort of combination of those guys end up back on your practice squad that you can do as game day elevations at least 3 times early in the season. So that's one thing I wonder if they're considering. I think there's a defensive tackle they're going to add that we don't know who it is yet to that mix. And the offensive line, you know, the Adoga injury hurts them because then you're like, okay, they don't have a true swing tackle, but it basically comes down to Matt Waletzko and Josh Ball in my mind. And then at tight end, everybody's been on this Brevin Spanford kid. I've not seen it. So they talk about their tight end depth and how much they like it. You want to see more from all these guys, to be honest with you.
Right. What about any chance they keep 2 quarterbacks and try to slip one through waivers?
I can't imagine that they do that because A, they don't have to, and B, Trey Lance's money is guaranteed. So,
what's the point?
Right. I think they're keeping 3. I think McCarthy's a quarterback guy, so you keep 3. One thing, a running back.
That was my next spot.
Yeah, like, how does Deuce get on the roster? He's got to do something on special teams in addition to returning. Maybe he can, I don't know. Or do they just have to figure out a way to make him a game day active and give him a package? To me, and I think at the start of my first one, I had Royce Freeman on it. And now I'm more thinking of he and Zeke are kind of the same guy with how they run.
Right.
Why have a duplicate process there? My third running back at the moment might be Malik Davis, just because he can play all the special teams, and he's had a really good summer. So there are still some spots I need to go through. Running back is a tricky one, not because they're loaded there, but I just don't know what they want out of the combination of guys they're going to use.
When you look at 5th receiver, because I assume when you got CeeDee whenever he signs, and Cooks and Tolbert and Cavante, I assume he's on the team. Who's your 5th receiver that you're keeping, and would you add another one to make it 6?
I have, it's Jalen Brooks or Ryan, and we just found out it's Flanoy is how you pronounce it, not Flournoy. So how about that? Flanoy. That's what it says in the media guide. So
he need to catch a few more balls and we'll pronounce his name right.
That was my that was the exact thought I had.
The Raiders game, look, he was much better against the Raiders. I think he's the guy that I flip-flop on this one. He's got some athletic ability and some suddenness to him that I don't see out of some of their receivers. Like when he gets it and goes, he gets up to 60 miles an hour in like a second. And he's pretty strong and he's pretty thick and he's got something to him. And I always wondered, doesn't every team have a Ryan Flanoy? So, what are you really missing here at this point that they're going to want to keep? So why would they claim that guy when they got their own small school guy? Did they really have high draft grades on him? But I've kept him from now. But, again, when you're looking to find a way to get Deuce on the roster, that's a spot in my mind. If you're, or especially in offense, or maybe you go a little light on offensive line, which has not been traditionally what they've done. I've only got 3 tight ends. Because I think Hunter Lipke will be a part-time tight end for them as well.
Like an H-back kind of guy?
Yeah, a guy can put his. And McCarthy's talked about that. He can put his hand. He can line up on the wing and do some of those things. And obviously, he's a fullback. He's a one back. He can carry the ball as a one back. And again, 4 special teams guy. If you don't have Hunter Lipke on your roster, then I don't think you've been paying attention very much.
Yeah.
Calvin might have been a shot at my good Calvin, but
I threw it out there for you.
I love him, but I saw that. I'm like, we don't have this guy on the team.
But now, and I haven't talked to Calvin about this, but I know, in the past, sometimes he says, well, sometimes you just make a roster just to make the roster because it's not your final one and you want to give people something to talk about. So maybe that was his version of giving something to talk about roster.
To intentionally be wrong on something? Why would you want to do that?
I'm not going down the speculative rabbit hole. I will. Matter of fact, I'll call him and ask him today, and then we can have a real answer. Yeah. So is there a big surprise on the roster or no? I'm not even sure who would qualify.
I mean, we just kind of went through it, right? I mean,
or is there a big cut? I don't know who would qualify.
I don't see one. Look, all right, I'm going to say it and not mean it, so we can go down this Calvin path.
Okay.
Zeke?
Well, that would qualify as a big cut.
Right.
Who is that?
So I mean, he's not played in the preseason.
Wow.
That's not why he's not played in the preseason, but I don't think there's any chance in hell that the Cowboys would do something like that. But I'm sure there are people out there thinking,
yeah, why not?
Whoa, geez, why Zeke's numbers are down and they got these other guys and da. That would be the one surprise in my mind. Like I always try and find beyond that one, so let's not even go down that path because that's not even going to happen. I always try and find the guy who's one dude that we've not written one word, tweeted one word, said anything about that's going to end up making the roster. And the guy I came up with was Buddy Johnson, the linebacker. Again,
57?
because of how many?
Is that 57?
57, yep.
Yeah. Out of A&M.
Well, I'm impressed with both of y'all.
Yeah.
So, because again, core special teams guy, he runs pretty well. He's got a lot of stuff, So
yep, he looked good.
Your final linebacker spot, if you go at 6, might come down to Nick Vigil, the guy who knows Zimmer's system, can play different spots, can play special teams, versus the young guy that you're projecting that maybe 5 weeks from now might be better than that guy. So that might be that's the one game I try and play. Is like, all right, who's the dude we've not talked about all year making a team? That would be my guy at the moment.
Okay. Let's move down this realm. I'm curious about this when we talk about offensive football and the Cowboys. CeeDee hadn't showed up yet. Rank the playmakers on offense.
Oh boy. All right, so we count. You count Dak, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Dak currently as constituted on the roster.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, Rico. I'm really running out of names here, guys.
That's a big gap between Jake Ferguson and Rico.
And that's,
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
What about Tolbert?
I get, yeah. I'll say yes, but it's based on what we've seen in practice, not what we've seen in the game.
Okay.
So, all right, I'll put Tolbert above Trey Lance.
Are we projecting it? Like, are you see, Trey Lance don't count because he ain't going to be on the field at all.
Maybe they come up with a package for him or something like that. But yeah, you're right. Turpin would be in there in part because, he can return kicks and the new rule might help him. But there was at one point yesterday, so Cooks didn't practice. He's got a little knee thing going on where and it was just a walkthrough. They went 0-1 personnel, right? The 4 receivers were, I'll make sure I'm getting this right, Tolbert, Cooks, Jalen Brooks, and T. Billy Johnson. And I looked at there and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Damn.
Like, if they had to play that way.
Damn.
It's like, why y'all playing with CeeDee, man?
Dak said, I've been through this before. Well, my man named Hearns and the other guy, whoever the hell them guys was.
Yeah, man.
What year was that? 16?
No. That was 18.
Okay.
It was the year they traded for Amari. And I would argue that those guys had more skins than Hearns and Deontay Thompson. And
yep.
I think Terrence Williams was still around. Cole Beasley was still around. They still had guys that had made plays in games.
Right.
Still.
That was a better group than this, yeah.
And, that's one of my problems with this team. Even when CeeDee gets back, it's just like, where are the plays coming from? Who's going to make them? Because the game is essentially about making plays. And they just, to me, man, they're just devoid of real playmakers based on what we know and what we've seen. And it's just so hard to drive the ball, 80 yards, 75 yards, and 12 plays to score, that you need some of those easy touchdowns. And I look at the roster, I'm like, man, I don't know. Not a lot of easy touchdowns coming.
But go to last year's roster, and, okay, the only guy that's not back of significance offensively is Pollard, right?
True that.
And let's say CeeDee's back. So you got CeeDee back.
Right.
So who else am I missing? And last year's offense led the league in points. Now, but to your point, they also led the league in 10-play drives. They had 47 10-play drives. So they were a drive-the-ball team.
Right.
And
I'm being very literal with this. And I don't know the answer. When they led the league in points, they scored a lot of defensive touchdowns last year. I don't think you – so, offensive points scored as opposed to total points?
That I'd have to double-check. But let's say it this way. They weren't – if you take away the defensive touchdowns for everybody, I would say the Cowboys would still be a top 10 scoring unit.
Okay. And I'm not disputing that. My point is I worry about their ability to be explosive and score points.
There's definitely a worry about being explosive for sure, and especially look at where are the 20-yard runs going to come from out of this group? We've not seen it from Rico when he's been here, and in the last 2 years, Zeke has 5 of the guys because there's a story I'm working on. Let me get to. There's 52 running backs with at least 150 carries the last 2 years. Christian McCaffrey has the most. He has 18. Zeke has 5. He's tied with Rashad White and is it Dalvin Cook, I think. And it's fewer rushes than Zeke, 20-yard rushes than Zeke, and has almost the same amount of carries. Alvin Kamara. He has 3.
I think he's kind of – I could be wrong because I haven't looked up his numbers lately. It seems to me like he's kind of fallen off a cliff.
Well, the team fell off a cliff, and he fell with it.
It could be that, Peyton knew how to use him just right.
Yep, Peyton had doing everything.
The same offense they were running, though.
Yep.
This year is a different offense, different coordinator, different scheme coming in, so –
I looked at his numbers. They're not that different.
He's playing with David Carr, and Jameis Winston, and all of them cats. He was with Drew.
Now, think about it. You know what's funny? As good as Alvin Kamara is, he's never had a 1,000-yard season.
How many total 1,200 scrimmage yard seasons has he had, though?
Oh, he's had a lot of those. Now.
Yeah, he can do everything. He did everything. They'll say Sean Payton, like you say.
Now, he's a true dual threat. But last year, he had 694 yards rushing, 466 yards receiving. But, year before that was 897 and 490. The year before that was 898, 439. So that's kind of ballpark he's in. His last really dynamic year was 2020. 932 receiving, 16 touchdowns, 932 rushing with 16 touchdowns, 756 receiving, 5 more touchdowns. So 1,700 yards and 26 touchdowns.
Was that Drew's last year?
I don't know. It seemed like Drew been gone 20 years already. Yes, it was. Doesn't seem like Drew Brees been gone forever. It's only been 4 years. So I don't know. Since we are talking about playmakers, what's up with the latest with CeeDee Lamb? I think you thought he'd be done by. I think you said.
Yeah, I told you to burn the tape. I said he'd be done by the end of the week, so I told you to burn the tape. I don't know, and no one knows, and it gets absurd, right?
It does, man.
Okay, if they're this is why I'd be awful at negotiating, right? Let's say they've come down from, obviously they're not at 35 million. I'm talking about CD side. They come off of that. So let's say they're at 34 million, right?
Right.
And let's say the Cowboys are at 32 million. What's a way that, I don't know, just spitballing this where, you meet in the middle? What would that number be? If you met in the middle, 33 maybe, right?
Right.
That's
yeah.
So, I mean, either if the Cowboys are there or almost there or whatever, the play-by-play we get on dumb negotiations, I mean, they can get – so let's say the Cowboys go to 33. Would CD say, okay, I'm good, 33, let's go? And if he doesn't say, no, I'm holding at 34, then what do you do? Like, do you just give in? I don't know. This whole deal just seems like it doesn't. It shouldn't be this hard. We've talked about this forever.
Yeah. What's the value of training camp for him?
And I think there is a value for training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Not to play in the preseason, certainly, because he doesn't need to play, and none of them would play anyway. But the value to me for him is making sure you're in football shape. He can do all these things. I'm sure he's in great. The dude's 25 or whatever he is. Mm-hmm. He's going to be in fantastic shape. Remember when Dez, the year Dez didn't sign the franchise tag and came in a little late, or missed the offseason program and then signed right before, and it came. Like, I think he had some soft tissue issues that propped up, but you always look at Dez and you're like, God damn, that guy's in shape. Right. So it's a little different, like working out on your own or with a coach or with than it is on the field in Oxnard. To me, this would have been the best week. Like, CD should have they should have gotten a deal done sooner. But at the very least, sign him before they play the Raiders. Show up for that game. Fly back to LA. Get 4 days out here in the nice weather to ramp him up, get him used to everything again. And then doesn't play against the Chargers, and then they get to practice, and boom, everything's good. Like, that would have made the most sense in my eyes. But I don't like when Jerry says we don't need him out here risking injury. Man. Well, you need him out here to practice.
Yeah.
Dak practicing. All these guys are practicing. Like,
yeah, I've told y'all that to me. It's all things being relative. The worst case scenario is you sign him the Friday before the season starts, because then you don't get to play him in the first game. He's just going to be barely usable in the second game. It's really the third or fourth game before he really kind of gets his way, to me.
Yeah.
And so, that's what this time is now, so that he can ratchet up, and at least your worst version will be against Cleveland, and then he'll be ready for the next two, because they got a tough stretch to start the season.
Yeah,
so
that's why you need him. You need to get it done.
And we've talked about it. You have no playmakers.
Right.
You just don't have any, man. And Dak's a playmaker, but we all know that if you take the quarterback out, because he's a playmaker, but he's not a playmaker like a Lamar Jackson or somebody like that who's going to do it that way. I mean, I don't get it, man. You talk about winning. He's one of your best players. The money we're talking about is obscene for both people. And so I'm with Todd in the sense of it just, the difference between 33 million and 34 million. Hey, check this out, CD. Whichever number it is, you too, Jerry, it's not changing his lifestyle. So it shouldn't be that hard to come to get it. You know what I mean?
From the Cowboys' perspective, let's say it's a 4-year deal, and that's $1 million difference. So that's $5 million over a 4-year span. That's a 7th-round pick. I don't know, like something like that. And then from CD's perspective, like you mentioned, like, again, they never want to hear this argument, but $33 million in Texas is a lot different than $34 million in pick another city in California.
And
right?
And just the raw numbers. I mean, when I talk about Dak's deal. I mean, you want to be paid what you want to be paid. You want to be respectful to what people who do what you do make. But there's nothing on Dak's next contract that changes his lifestyle one bit. There ain't nothing he can buy with another $50 million a year that he can't buy right now. I mean, maybe it's a yacht.
If the deal was going to be $50 million, if the deal was going to be 50, they'd do it right now.
I meant 50 a year.
Yeah.
And that's
what I'm saying.
Or 55 a year. Or, it's all the same at a certain level. You just want to be paid what people who you do make. And I say that with everybody. When you sign your deal with ESPN, you want to be paid what people who do what you do make within the ballpark. There's a little parameter of certain thousand, so whatever the money is. But you want to be within the parameter of what you do make.
But here's another thought, though. When you're speaking to us at our level and what we make, you also don't want to be so much of a spot where you become a cap casualty either.
Yep.
Dude, I talked about that a lot. Like, even as reporters, you don't want to be no salary cap casualty. So you want to be within a nice range where they don't mind paying you, or they don't decide that there's some rookie that they can pay $50,000 less and get him to do your job. So there's a little dance there. But you want to be in the ballpark of what everybody who does at the level that you do it makes. And
so I looked at, and again, is 33 is that ballpark, right? Or is it insulting to CeeDee to say I'm $2 million less than Justin Jefferson? I don't know. Right. I'm not going to go into the world of interpreting what social media pictures guys are putting on and trying to figure out what it means. But I just looked this up, and you're talking about early season, what happens in the first week if he shows up, and then blah blah blah. Well, Zeke, skill player, different than Zach Martin. Although I'd acknowledge that Zach said it took him a while last year. He never really felt comfortable after missing 21 days of training camp, right? He always felt he was playing catch up. Well, Zeke in 2019, he signs the week before the season opener, practices 3 days or whatever they practice, right? Plays the Giants, and the Giants were pretty good run defense, I think, that year. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But 13 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. So would he have been – and then the following 2 weeks he went 111, 125.
Some guys are camp guys and some guys are not. Some guys need camp. Like, remember Strahan didn't show up for camp one year the whole time. And then they called him in and they went to the Super Bowl.
Well, Aaron Donald, right? That's Aaron the guy Donald. Cooks brings up. Yep. Three times he didn't show up to camp and he won Defensive Player of the Year. Whether that's true or not, we've never really looked it up, but it sounded good.
Yeah.
But but again, I think I just wonder if it's different for skill guys because, especially receivers, you're so tied to the quarterback. Like as a pass rusher or playing what Aaron Donald did. Couldn't just be, hey, go get the guy with the ball. It's a little bit easier, a little bit different than all the running that those guys have to do as receivers that can lead you to.
Aaron Donald might be an outlier, man. That dude is incredible.
Right.
And you're hoping this CD is an outlier if you don't hurry up and get him done.
I'm hoping that big time. Right. As a Cowboy fan, hell yeah, I'm hoping that. But it don't look likely. Because if you're saying 3 or 4 games for him to be right, then that mean the offense going to suck 3 or 4 games. Because they got the top heavy schedule to start with.
Yeah,
You want to go down to Cleveland without him, or you want to go down to Cleveland and he don't really play?
That's what I'm saying. That's why.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So it's interesting to me, but I will say, when they move, once they decide to move, they can move very quickly. Which I think when me and Arch talk about it, that's what you're hoping for if you're a Cowboys fan. And once they decide, okay, we need to get it done, it don't necessarily take that long to get it done because you should be the conversation should be that hard to put it all together. Whether it's guaranteed money or whatever the final sticking point is. At some point, somebody's going to have to give in to get it done, and it's probably going to be the Cowboys after a lot of bluster.
I mean, and that's why does it have to get to this point? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that's my thing. Like, and look, I'm not on both
we
sides.
Knew the answer
why
to
does
that,
it have to get to this point?
We could solve world peace if we knew to that point.
Right.
or my favorite example is, if how come the Democrats and Republicans just can't get together and figure out what to do, what's best for the country? because somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to say, "Hey, my idea was just a little bit better. I'm right, you're wrong. You're wrong, I'm right." And so, it's just human nature. It's hard to work and just be like, let's just get it done. Doesn't matter who gets the credit. Let's just get it done. That's why me and Arch worked together so well. We didn't really care about the credit. We both knew we were great. See?
Or I knew that Jacques cared about the credit, and I just let him out.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that.
Well, even then, you would. That's why it worked.
Yeah.
Because we got along. Because you didn't care. Well, I didn't care. I didn't really care. I cared more about getting paid. I didn't care about the credit as long as everybody's getting paid. Because I am of the belief, or I was of the belief, that if we do a great job, everybody gonna get paid, and that's all, and everybody be good. So, but ain't nobody asked me to run their team.
All we need to remember is next year, if I'm still in Oxnard at this time of the summer, we can just change the names from CeeDee Lamb to Micah Parsons.
Oh, now see, we know why that one's not going to get done, because he wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL. He will have the stats to back it up, and when they decide to do that, that's when that deal will get done. So we'll all know what he wants.
Highest paid player or highest paid non-quarterback?
Now that's a great question because
if he wants to be the highest paid player, then they might as well just not even talk and just franchise him for 3 straight years or whatever the heck it would be.
And Micah's got enough ego; he might believe he should be the highest paid player, but you can only get to be, to me, this is just me, in your mind, no matter how great you are, you can only be the highest paid. You can't even think about that unless you've been bringing championship to the crib. Otherwise, other people have won championships and done more things when it mattered the most. So you can't be the highest paid player in the game. You can be the highest paid defensive player if you want, but even then, those guys have at least taken their teams to the Super Bowl, I think.
No. Which Boza is it? The Charger? Isn't it the Chargers Boza that's the highest?
Is he the highest paid guy now?
Or is it Joey? Is Joey? Which one's in?
No, I think it's
the Niners?
Nick helped get his team to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they got there.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't pay Joey because Joey's hurt all the time. He's terrific when he's healthy, but he ain't never healthy. He's hurt all the time, so he wouldn't get a check from me. He had to go get it from somewhere else. Because game's about availability, baby. So there you have it. Why are you laughing, man?
I don't know about that.
I just like when you slip in your Parcells mode.
All right, that's a good time. You got anything else for us, Arch? Hey, I noticed your daughter had already gotten a sorority. Is that how they do it these days? Are you in a fraternity?
No.
Did you ever think about it?
No.
Is your wife in one? Sorority?
She was not. She did pledge, but it ultimately dropped out. Going to the school in a major city, I did not feel the need to go to a fraternity.
Right.
But yeah, no, the sorority thing, especially the SEC schools.
Yeah.
As someone who grew up with their daughter in competitive soccer and lived through tryouts and visits and all these sort of things,
right?
This is more stressful than that. The sorority stuff is more stressful than that.
Really?
That's why they go to school
what's the
early
short
now.
version? Because I literally was shocked because I was like, I thought, and I'm ignorant to it, so maybe I shouldn't have been shocked. I thought all that stuff happened in like the spring of your freshman year, not before you even show up and start taking classes. Yeah,
no, you show. I got to be honest with you. I just try to just play the supportive dad without delving into the hows and whys and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's why she went to school. Yesterday was their first day of class, so they were there for 10 days or whatever it would have been.
And those 10 days are kind of like the rush period.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, it was stressful, and then as soon as you get the letter that says you made this one, it's a big giant sigh of relief, and yeah, thank God it happened.
Oh, so
they don't pledge?
They're in their initiation part of it. Again, I don't know the hows and whys. I just know she's in one of them.
Yeah, my daughter and my wife was in sorority. So.
You officially become one of it takes a little. Even though you're in it now, it's still there's a process you go through now before you get initiated and fully or something. I don't know. I'm just glad she found a home.
All right. Well, great. All right, cool. See, I was just curious about it, man. See, I'd be on the Facebook page checking it out. I sent out warm love to you.
I saw. You said something about you were just taking pictures at her games.
Yeah, a long time ago. Up at University of Dallas, I think. But she was a really good soccer player. So, we all got kids. I've known them all since they were little kids, and it's funny how they're all growing up now.
Empty nesters. What the hell are we gonna do?
I was about to tell a story about my son, and I thought it was funny. And then I was like, I don't know, Joe's gonna criticize me for telling it. So
don't tell it then.
Well,
it's not even
that don't need to be told. That's the only time I criticize.
Well, I don't know. This is. I don't think it's that big a deal, but I don't feel like the drama.
No. Just because you don't think it's a big deal doesn't mean it's not a big deal.
Right.
Well,
it's like our boy Clarence when he says, "I was just joking." And what's
stop the drama, man?
Because you think it's funny doesn't mean the other person thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
Right. You're correct, and that's why I said I'm not going to tell it. Although I may tell it later and change the names in a week or two when nobody remembers this, and tell it and see what the reaction is. But I'll tell Joe off the air. And see what he thinks, and he'll probably say, "You don't need to tell that. That ain't nobody's business."
Yeah.
And then I'll let
discretion.
Well, yeah,
a lot of discretion.
It's still funny, man. But it's a coming of age story. That's why it's funny to me. And it's about generations and how society has changed. It's just funny to me. But anyway, on that note, now that I've got all y'all intrigued about my son, Arch, we always appreciate you, man. When you getting back? When you getting back? I need to buy you a drink.
That'd be the first.
Okay. I'll buy you lunch when we get back.
Red Eye on Wednesday.
All right.
Thursday morning, technically.
We got about 10, and we'll have time before the season starts when you get in your real routine. So let's go grab lunch before the real season starts.
I want to try this. I need some Smokey John's barbecue.
Okay. You want me to bring it, or you want to meet over there?
He ain't bringing it. You might as well meet him, Todd.
Dog, why you being so negative?
No, I'm being truthful. You'll never get it if you got to bring it.
That's not true. I had to go out to the Star a little bit.
Did you bring it?
I tried to get you. You know, you live a helicopter ride away. It's a little more difficult.
Bring it?
No, I did not.
Then it's the truth.
Okay, we'll iron out the details off here. Because Joe's being an instigator right now.
Hey,
all right, Arch.
You get to Smokey John's, you're going to love it. You get Smokey John's, hey, you get old Smokey John's, it's pretty good. I'll give you that. But he ain't bringing it.
Oh. All right. Arch, bye. That's Todd Archer. Brought to you each and every Wednesday by Smokey John's Barbecue, home of the Jam Session Bowl. It's Customer Appreciation Week this week. How about this, man? 48 years in the business for Juan and Brent Reeves and their dad, John, Smokey John's, who started the business. So swing through. They giving out a lot of good stuff in addition to the regular food. They got some giveaways this week. They're taking care of the customers. So swing by Smokey John's Barbecue, 1820 West Mockingbird, right around the corner from Love Field, and enjoy some of the best soul food home cooking in the DFW. Now, the Jam Session Bowl, if you're unfamiliar, is a mac and cheese base or a mashed potato base. Your choice, 2 out of 5 smoked meats, and then all the stuff you put on a loaded baked potato like bacon bits, cheese, sour cream, butter, all that stuff, man. And then they drench it with sauce or they drizzle it with sauce. Either way, it's fantastic. All right, so check it out. The catfish there is sensational. The ribs are great. They fall off the bone. The succulent, the brisket is terrific. You can't find a meat there that ain't terrific. Yeah. The Smokey John's Barbecue. The sides are tremendous. The food, whether it's on the secret menu or the regular menu, it's all great. And the best thing about them is they booming. The state fair is coming up. They'll have a lot of stuff out there at the state fair. You can sample, and they come up with some creations just for the state fair at Smokey John's. They won some awards for the stuff that they've done with them. They're just great, man. And that's real talk. Real talk about it. If you need some Smokey John's in your life and you can't get by the restaurant, you go online to SmokeyJohns.com, go to the marketplace, and you get the sauce of the rub sent to the crib in a couple of days. They're now at HEBs all over Dallas. Burleson, Waxahachie, Allen, Frisco, McKinney, everywhere you can name. You can go in the store and you can find the sauce and the rub on the shelves. And if you go to Joe V Smart Mart in Dallas, 67 in Wheatland, right as you get off, they got the sauce and the rub there, but they also have the banana pudding there. That's right. You can get Smokey John's banana pudding in the store at Joe V Smart Mart in Dallas off of 67 in Wheatland. It's basically the Duncanville area. So go by, give Smokey John's a chance to change your life with the food. It is food to live for. That's how good it is. Let's go to the block, Doc. Now, I was figuring out which angle I was going to take this for because I was looking at the paper today and it said that Nuri Steakhouse, which I've never been to, is the #1 restaurant in Dallas. Said a dude named Juan Kim, who's the owner. Juan Kim, you probably don't know, but you probably do know his business where he's a CEO. Now, this is a strange mix to me. He's the CEO of Smoothie King, but he got the #1 restaurant in Dallas, in Texas, which happens to be a steakhouse. And that led me to thinking, are you a guy, have you been to any of those top steakhouses in Dallas or the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
No.
Do you have a desire to go to any of those top steakhouses?
No.
If somebody else was picking up the Chad. Because if to go to a top steakhouse is probably going to set you back probably a couple hundred.
When you ask them open-ended questions, you get the truth. So no.
You
might want to do a segment without asking them questions. No, I don't have no desire to go there because I don't eat steak like that because I have gotten gout before. And if anybody's ever had gout, they won't leave that steak alone.
Calvin Watkins has gout.
Okay. That ain't none of my business.
No, I was going to say he has, and so I say that because he's always watching his diet because you don't want anything to flare it up.
Okay.
Before you got gout, did you like steak like that? Because some people don't like steak like that.
Yeah, I like steak.
Now I like to go to steakhouses, but I haven't been in a long time.
Well, it's only steak that flares it up, like bone-in ribeye and stuff like that. Now,
yes.
Fajitas and hamburger and stuff like that, no. But just steak and a certain kind of shrimp that I haven't figured out yet. I figured out when my forearm swells up, I figured that I ate the wrong shrimp. But
damn.
Other than that, yeah. So, I'm not a steakhouse guy.
I like them, sometimes I like to sample what the best tastes like, so I know I have something to compare it to. But like I said, I haven't been in a long time, primarily because I haven't felt like spending a couple $100s on a meal. When you work for yourself, and you got a kid in college and one on the way and some other stuff you got to handle, you be like, do I really need to go spend a couple $100s at a steakhouse?
You got a kid on the way?
On the way to college.
Oh.
And then because I've gotten into cooking, I've always liked to cook, but then I've gotten into cooking a lot more in the last 4, 5, 6 years. I'm always like, can I make this at home? Like I bought a tomahawk steak that probably costs close to $100 if you go to a steakhouse. I bought a tomahawk steak at Sam's for $23. It was on sale. And I went home and I tried to cook it, and it was okay. It wasn't as good as it could have been because I didn't do enough research, but it was okay. But that's the kind of stuff I like to do. I like to experiment. But I've been wanting to go to a steakhouse lately, and I've been to Bob's Steak and Chop House quite a bit because I used to have Norm Hiskis used to send me there a couple times a year when I was working on doing this show on a regular basis. And so I like them pretty well. I like Pappas Brothers. I've been there. That's a quality steakhouse. For some reason, I hadn't been to Nick and Sam's. I went to Del Frisco's a long time ago, and that was cool. I want to go by Nick and Sam's, and I'm intrigued by this.
Is it Pappas Brothers?
Yeah, what did I say?
Pappas,
I don't know.
Pappasitos, Pappas Burgers.
They all the same. So.
Yeah. But
however you pronounce one is however you pronounce the other ones. But I ain't looked it up, and I ain't never asked nobody. I should ask my son because he worked there for a while. At the one in, yeah.
Pappasito, yeah, that's Pappasito. Never mind, go ahead.
So, but anyway, I think, so I got a steakhouse to try, and I'm taking recommendations. And I might go by myself. I might go with somebody else, or I might go by myself. But I've been wanting a tomahawk steak from a restaurant, just to see what it tastes like when I go to somebody who knows how to cook it exactly the way it's supposed to be cooked. But anyway, I find it that's a long way of saying I find it interesting that Dallas had the #1 restaurant in Texas, because there's a lot of great restaurants in Dallas. There's a lot of great restaurants in Texas, and it's a steakhouse in Dallas, right around the corner. There was one other thing I was going to run past you, man. Oh, Phil Donahue died the other day after a long illness. Now, Phil Donahue had a talk show. Thank Oprah, because he helped Oprah get on the map. He was kind of the precursor to Oprah. Live audience, they take questions sometimes. You have a guest up there. And I didn't realize it, man, at the time. But I used to love the Phil Donahue show. I mean, I knew I loved it, but I didn't realize why I loved it. I loved it why? Because he was doing journalism, man. He would ask people tough questions, but he always asked them basically in a respectful manner.
Who is he married to? Who is he married to?
He's married to that girl, man, Marlo Thomas.
That's right.
For 40-some years.
Phil pulled that girl. That's gangster right there.
Yeah, and I don't know all the details because his first marriage, he had 5 kids. So I don't know if he was divorced when they got married, but I read the story this morning where they met at some party, and it was basically a love at first sight thing. Like they met.
Phil definitely played, because I don't put them two together.
Well, they met, they talked, and Phil was like, oh, here it is right here, if I can call it up. Phil was like, you're very fascinating. You are, and then she said, you're wonderful. You're loving and generous. You like women. It's a pleasure. And whoever the woman in your life is very lucky. And at that point, he said, I think that woman is you. And voila. See, that's a player move right there. But it dawned on me as I was reading about his death, because I used to watch the show religiously in the summer, because it used to come on at like 9 o'clock. It said, I didn't even realize it at the time, but I was drawn to journalism and journalists. And, you know, not Maury Povich and Jerry Springer, who took his format and bastardized it and turned it into, you know, the Wild Wild West. Even Sally Jesse Raphael, who eventually went down that road. But he always kept it classy and kept it about news, man. And the way he went about grilling people and dealing with the facts, even if he disagreed, I didn't realize the impact it had on me until you know, many, many years later, where I was like, oh, I guess that's why I used to like that show. And so it's kind of funny what you're attracted to, and you don't even know it at the time. You just know that there's something about it that you like. and it's sometimes it's years later that you figure it out. But he had a hell of a run. 88 years old, died surrounded by his family after a long illness, and it's kind of a sad, poignant day because I hate talking about this sometimes, man. But damn it, I'm at that age now where a lot of people are dying that you feel close to, whether they're parents or friends or people that you grew up watching on TV. Pretty soon it'll be athletes that you grew up watching. I mean, it's just that cycle of life and a season in your life. And so, it's just part of the whole deal, but damn it gets old sometimes. Did you ever watch Phil Donahue?
A little bit. I think everybody watched Phil Donahue. And then all the people that came back after him. I'm trying to remember how old we were. Was he like 15, 16, something?
Yeah, because I think he started in like 1980, so really about 13, 14.
13?
Yeah.
I don't know if I was watching him at 13. Phil Donahue was always, I don't know if I said, let me watch Phil Donahue. I think I was out kicking the ball or something. But he was always around. It was a show that was constant. So you was going to see Phil Donahue. You knew who Phil Donahue was, and you knew. So, I don't think I watched it religiously, but I think I watched it where he was just so consistent. And he was really the only thing on.
Oh, well, hell.
And he had his own, that format was just his, put it like that. That's what made him famous. Because he had, like you said, he had all them offshoots and stuff.
Right. I just looked it up. We both right and wrong at the same time. The reason it was a presence was the show ran from 1967 to 1996.
There you go.
So basically, it started a few months after I was born,
right,
and ended when I was 31. So it's all I knew growing up.
Yeah.
And my mother was a news person, so it was around and about.
Well, if they was watching it, you was watching it by proximity. You was there. One Life to Live, General Hospital, Phil Donahue, all of that stuff went together. If you was walking through there eating lunch, they wasn't changing the TV for you. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you just told on your mama and your grandmama because they was ABC watchers. My mother was a CBS watcher. As the World Turns.
Okay, there you go.
Search for Tomorrow, and one whatever it was.
One Life to Live is ABC.
No, I was gonna say One Life to Live is ABC.
Yeah,
because it was All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital. 3 hours of your life gone right there. That's when I fell in love with Debbie Morgan, who I watch on Power now.
Debbie Morgan. Yes, indeed.
Angie, baby.
Yes, indeed.
I was in love, and she still looked damn near the same at 70 as she did at 22.
She was fine.
No, she's still fine, man. Now, let me shut up. But that's it, man. Phil Donahue, great journalist and an inspiration, and I didn't even know it. We want to remind you, take a glance at the YouTube channel, The Real Jacques Talk. Please check out the Patrick Creighton interview. Check out Good and Good For You, our cooking segment. And tell us what you think about it. Hit the like, review, subscribe buttons. We use all that help. You can follow the show on IG at The Real Jacques Talk. Hit me up on Twitter at JJT Journalist. If you think you follow me, you don't. Why? Oh, I'll tell you. I might need to tell y'all that story one day. But basically, my account's been hijacked, and I ain't paying the ransom, baby. I just ain't going to do it. And then you can hit me up on Clapper at I am Jean-Jacques Taylor. For Big Joe the Big Rig, until we chat again, you guys be blessed.